Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Probably that summarizes my entire talk today. So yes, I would like whoever has failed in their life at least once, just raise your hand. Oh, nice. I see a big clan here. Yes, folks, so that's my story of failure that I'm going to narrate today. Because a lot of times since our childhood, we've been taught that the opposite of day is light, opposite of success is failure. But that's where we've gone wrong because I feel that failure is part of success. So yes, I have a very diverse profession. I'm a psychologist by profession. I've done a lot of research on the field of sports psychology, but currently I'm working in the field of sports medicine. And that's where I will tell you how my journey had begun. So it's always important for us to dream, and similarly, I had a dream which was really big, that was to climb Mount Everest. This dream of mine was when I was 8 years old, and when I was 17 years old, I started working towards this dream. Now, for a person from a middle-class family, to dream to climb Mount Everest is really very difficult because each attempt to climb Mount Everest every season costs you approximately 30 lakh Indian rupees. Now, from a middle-class family, even if you say a double-digit lakh or even single-digit lakh, it makes a lot of difference. But when this dream happened, there were a lot of challenges that I had to face. I tried to look for a lot of fundings in terms of sponsorships, knocked all the doors, got rejected everywhere. And at the age of 18, trust me, facing rejections is not that easy. Now we are more used to it now, but yeah. But at the age of 18, facing rejections, every rejection was putting my morale down that whether will I be able to climb Mount Everest in my life or not. At the same time, I had my exams going on, which clashed with the climbing season. I had to make a decision whether I go ahead with my exams or do I go ahead to to climb Mount Everest. The very first person who actually came forward was my nani, that is my grandmother. She sold off all her gold jewelries, and that was the first contribution I got for my Mount Everest climb. Yeah, that's me because I used to always make her wear fancy glares. Though the contribution was not big, with all the jewelries that she sold, it was about 5 lakh rupees. I still had 25 lakh more to go. But then looking at my grandmom, my mom came into the competition, like if my mother can do it, even I should do it for my daughter. And that was the contribution from my mom as well. She also landed up selling all her gold jewelries, and they both decided that instead of saving it for my wedding, which would happen probably a few decades later, they should probably be using this for my passion. And that's where my journey had begun. But again, with both their contributions, it was not the entire funding that I had got. There were more than 10,000 strangers who contributed for my Everest climb. There was an article that had come in one of the local newspapers, and trust me, I've got contributions as low as 11 rupees in an envelope. And when I started this journey, I knew that it was a journey that I'm starting carrying all these 10,000 people's load, or probably blessings, I would say, who have been with me. And during this phase, I lost a lot of time, but yes, that's how my journey began. And as I started hiking, there were a lot of other challenges that I did come across the Mount Everest expedition as well. But one thing I definitely remembered, I had already lost a couple of weeks before starting my Everest expedition in the process of arranging funds. But then the moment you start working towards your goal, you must remember that you're successful, because every step that you take, no matter whether it is fast or it is slow, you are closer to your goal. My Sherpa really made my life very tough on the mountain, because where it was difficult to walk, where it was difficult to breathe because the oxygen is low, he used to make me run. So this is how my training happened on Mount Everest. And believe me or not, but before climbing or attempting Mount Everest, I had zero mountaineering experience. Of course, I was a national athlete, national cyclist, national rugby player, and into karate as well. But then with zero mountaineering experience, my Sherpa had taken that pledge that he's going to train me en route. And before climbing Mount Everest, we successfully summited Island Peak in Nepal, which is 6,200 meters. Few of my lessons from the mountain, what I learned, are really helpful throughout my life. In fact, these lessons from the mountain, what I've learned, have really nurtured my entire career, I would say. Whenever it used to snow, everybody used to go and hide inside the tent. And trust me, the temperature on Mount Everest varies from plus 35 to minus 35 degrees. So you are between those extreme weathers. And I decided to come outside because a girl from Mumbai who had never ever seen snow in her life, I used to come outside, play with the snow, because sitting inside the tent is not going to stop the snowfall. Instead, I used to enjoy it, appreciate it, embrace it, and accept it and move on. So this lesson of mine has really changed my entire career path, which I'll be speaking of it in future. Giving up all the luxuries and technologies don't work out there. You have to survive with the traditional ways, and that's how it used to be. As in the third image, what you can see is my entire ration for the 3 months of climb. So we had to plan well. We had to use our resources well. To even just get drinking water, we had to walk miles sometimes, fill it in the barrels, and get it back out. So it's very important lesson for me as well, that on the mountain we learned how to respect all these resources. Everything that looks beautiful is also risky. The first image you see is Kumbhu Icefall on Mount Everest. That is the most risky part because these ice blocks, they keep falling. It's a 24/7 moving glacier. And on the second image, what you can see is a crevice. So there are a lot of hidden crevices between this icefall. And even it's said that if you just surpass this icefall, it's said that you have done 80% of the job of climbing Mount Everest, which I did manage to climb 4 times, because at Everest, you don't directly start from base camp and you go to the summit. You start from the base, you go to camp 1, you come back, stay at the base camp, you go to camp 1, go to camp 2, come to camp 1, come back, stay at the base camp. So this process of doing up and down is called as acclimatization, because it's very much important for you to get acclimatized to the mountain and to the altitude. Not just this, there was a lot of things that happened. So because I had started my climb very late, because my funding was arranged very late, I lost a lot of days, so I did this mistake of climbing fast. So on mountain, it's always said that you should be climbing very slow. In Nepali, they say bistari, bistari. Even if you go to, let's say, Kilimanjaro, in local Tanzanian language, they say pole pole, which means climb slowly, slowly. So the slower you go, the better it is. But because I was climbing very fast, my body did not get acclimatized. So at 7,350 meters, I got high altitude sickness. And how we realized that I had high altitude sickness is, one fine morning, I get out of my tent, and this is how I'll end up walking. Because the first thing that happens when your body runs out of oxygen on mountain is your balance and your speech that gets affected. I saw a video of a few Russian climbers who had recorded when they were asking me, what is your name, who are you, blah, blah, blah. And all what I said was, blah, 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 blah. I had a slurred speech. And this confirmed that I had altitude mountain sickness because I had also lost my memory completely for 4 hours. I didn't remember my name, my parents' name, where I was hailing from. And very first step my Sherpa did is immediately put me on oxygen. They made me drink a lot of hot tea, hot coffee, eat a lot of garlic because it helps you thin your blood. Finally, after 4 hours, I had to descend lower than base camp to a village with my Sherpa's wife. That's my Sherpa's wife in the second image, so that I get natural source of oxygen. So a lot of times when we dream of something, when we are set towards a goal, there are certain pitfalls, there are certain pit stops, and we need to lower down from our goal. But that does not mean that we are quitting it over there. We just need to take that halt, get back, pump up, and then throttle again. So again, when my journey started, there were a lot of other challenges that happened. You can see the second image where there was a snowstorm that was approaching us. And that's where I had to end my journey, not because I wasn't fit, but because the extrinsic factors were not in my favor. So the journey of Mount Everest is of 8,848 meters in height. I only managed to climb till 8,000 meters because I had to return back as there was a snowstorm approaching, the weather was not good. I was disheartened, of course, but I do not focus on those 848 meters that I lost. I focus on those 8,000 meters that I gained. I focus on what I achieved in life, what lessons I learned in those 8,000 meters of life. That was the story of my failure. I failed to climb Mount Everest, but yes, there was a climax. Once I got back from the mountain, I was playing rugby at Bombay Gymkhana. I got a sandwich tackle, landed on my right knee, tearing off my complete ACL ligament and with a medial meniscus tear. So yes, as an athlete, I knew that my career in sports will not be same. There will be certain changes. But yes, you remember the lesson I just mentioned about for Mount Everest? Appreciate, embrace, and move on. That is exactly what I did over here. I appreciated my injury. I was, in fact, very happy that I got injured because crying is not going to help me out. If I cry, if I keep cribbing about it, if I keep cursing things, why this happened to me, why did this happen to me, what wrong did I do, I worked so hard, it's not going to heal either which ways. So I had to accept the fact that, okay, yes, I'm injured. Now let's see the way forward. In fact, you can see with my nurses and with my surgeons that I have been cutting a cake, celebrating like, yay, it's my first surgery. And trust me, I was really happy about it because there was no turning back from here. After the surgery, a lot of relatives and friends told me, Bhagya, enough of sports, you've already broken your leg once, just focus on your education, focus on your career. And that's when I wanted to prove them wrong, and I decided that I will prove them wrong. The phase after surgery was really very difficult because to overcome the rehabilitation phase itself, because as athletes, we are always on our toes, we want results very fast, and here, it's been 3 months, it's been 4 months, I'm barely able to load my leg completely with the entire body weight. It was definitely a difficult journey. But then on 2nd of October, that was almost 2 years after my surgery, I decided to cycle across the country and prove everyone that injuries cannot stop us. So as I started cycling, I started this journey, thank you. I started this journey from a small town of Himachal Pradesh called as Palampur. We would have heard of Palampur in some movies, of course. So I started from cycling from Himachal, went to Himachal, Chandigarh, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Assam. From Assam, again doing Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, then Rajasthan, Dadra Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Gujarat, cutting from north of Maharashtra towards Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, hitting Karnataka slightly, then going to Goa, southern part of Maharashtra, and Bangalore. And this journey of mine took me almost 183 days on bicycle after having a surgery. This was not just a cycling journey for me. It was a journey for me to inspire a lot of young Bhagyas who have dreams to achieve in their life. I dreamt of climbing Mount Everest when I was 18. Cycling across the nation was not a part of my plan, but I had to do it because my goals changed after my injury. And I cycled during this journey to 400 government schools across India, interacting with almost 50,000 young children, fueling their dreams, probably telling them what's the importance of education and sports equally in our ecosystem, because it's very fortunate that some athletes only survive with sports, but in our country, I feel for us to survive or probably be strong, it's important to have a good educational background as well and maintain that beam balance. This journey of cycling across 400 schools in 183 days, covering 18 states, 500 territories, almost 20,000 kilometers, was a Guinness World Record. Thank you. So had I not broken my leg, if I didn't have that surgery, I wouldn't have ever dreamt of achieving something like this. I didn't even know when I embarked on this mission, if I would be able to if it would even be a Guinness World Record. Till date, there is no girl who has achieved this feat. And in fact, the record that I broke was by 500 kilometers, which belonged to an Australian. And all this, again, after my surgery. But you know what? That's not it. All stories don't end well. There is always a climax that comes every time you settle in life, and history repeats again. I had an ACL tear again. This time it was ACL, medial meniscus, and PCL. So there were 2 ligaments that had gone. And of course, the pictures say by itself how happy I was, because I knew that something great is again going to come after this injury. And that's what happened. With proper rehabilitation, it was very difficult after my second injury because COVID had hit us already, and I couldn't go to the centers to do my rehabilitation. So the recovery took me much more longer. But after that, I have completed almost 3 full marathons, over 25 half marathons, more than 10 10K runs. I have won podiums in a lot of duathlon races. Duathlon is where you cycle and you run. You can just see some of my podium images there as well. This was after my second surgery. So the whole point of saying this is that injuries do not stop us. It is only a mindset that can stop us from anything that we want to achieve in life. And it's only your subconscious that will keep fueling your dream, provided you believe that your dream is achievable. For a girl from a middle-class family, 18 years of age, I didn't ever give up on the thought that I will be able to climb Everest or I will not be able to climb Everest. I kept supporting it. I kept fighting for it till my last breath. There were a lot of family members who said it's risky, don't do this, don't do that. My one statement response from my father was, if at all it's time for her to die, she can even slip off a banana peel and die. So I'm not going to stop her from achieving her dreams. I am just going to support her in every aspect that she wants to. And trust me, I'm the only daughter, only child of my parents, and I feel blessed to have such wonderful parents and my heavenly grandmom who believed that she should always support my dreams because that's what women empowerment, I would say, probably is what I've seen in my family since childhood. As a girl child, they never stopped me at anything. They always kept supporting me. And one thing what my grandmom always told me is that anything that you want to achieve in life, give it a try. Never give up, because the fear of failure is something that you will probably regret forever, that at least I should have given it a try. And I proudly own all my failures. I failed Mount Everest not once, I failed it twice. And I'm happy about it because I failed, I learned, there is nothing that I lost. And to end with that thought, fear is temporary and regret is forever. So please follow your passion, strive for your dreams, strive for your goals, and I'm sure you have it there. Thank you so much.